So we recently announced a major step forward for battery energy storage in Australia. Backed by Arena, Relectrify is launching the AC1, a world-first battery energy storage system delivering more energy, greater reliability and better returns for battery operators. Relectrify is a company we've been working with for a number of years. It was born out of a risky idea to reuse old EV car batteries as stationary storage. And with Arena's support, Relectrify developed a novel battery management system technology, which has become the core innovation in the AC1. $25 million of Arena funding will help Relectrify deploy this breakthrough technology across a series of commercial, industrial and small grid-scale projects nationwide, demonstrating the benefits of the AC1 in real deployments and accelerating Australia's transition to renewable energy. We sat down with CEO Jeff Renaud to hear Relectrify's story. Morning, Jeff.
Morning.
Can you take us back to the early days of Relectrify? What did you learn from those projects and what did you learn from working with Arena?
And we started with this very novel technology concept of, can we take a battery management system and combine it with an inverter and make that into a singular technology platform? And that's really what the first project was about, is proving that that concept had merit and that we could make it work. And Arena support was integral to that, which I think that project took place in 2018, 2019 timeframe. And then the second step was, how do we build a first product? And the company, from its inception, had a focus on second life battery use and battery markets, and really that's where the idea behind the technology platform came from. And so the second project with Arena was, let's build a second life battery product. That was a product that we called the Revolve, that was built with second life Nissan Leaf battery cells and Arena support. And the second project we did together, which I think started in 2020, helped us bring that product to life and deploy a couple dozen units across Australia. So it was a great step forward.
So Relectrify has shifted away from using end-of-life batteries.
Yep.
What did that experience teach the business, and how did that shape the technology and business that Relectrify is today?
The shift was really just a practical reaction to what was happening in the market, right? And I think that's one of the key things you have to do as an early stage company, is be ready to kind of learn and reorient as you go. You can't be too rigid in your thinking. And so what we saw was a few things that were unexpected relative to where we started. One is the actual available supply of second life battery cells was lagging where most people thought it would be. There just weren't as many EVs coming off the road, and there weren't that many cells available for reuse and redeployment. In parallel to that, LFP chemistry really took over in new production and scaled at a speed and with a cost curve that I think nobody really expected either. So you were left with this world where new battery cells were much cheaper and much better, much more quickly than people expected. And so we looked at those two things together and said, how do we best realize our mission, which is really to take this novel technology and use it to have the biggest impact on reducing the cost of renewable energy for the market. And the clear answer was, a pivot towards new battery energy storage systems using new battery cells.
How did support from Arena in previous projects and this one, as well as support from the venture capital community, help bring this technology and business to life?
We are in a stronger position. We're further along today than we would have been without Arena support on the past projects and on with the project we're about to launch together now. Mm-hmm. And there's a feedback loop with broader investor support, right? I mean, obviously, the business only exists through the backing of the venture capital funding that we have and the strong investor support we have, and Arena's support and kind of the acceleration of our work, and also kind of some of the credibility that Arena's participation brought, helped us with investors at the same time. So those two things, together have been obviously integral to bringing us to where we are today.
How did Arena funding help you take risks and pivot the business quickly?
It's about a combination of having, frankly, just extra funding available to invest more quickly and more aggressively into the things that we want to do and the ideas that we have. And then it's about having kind of the organizational support and all of the soft things that come along with that helped us, move more quickly as well.
What opportunities do you see ahead for Relectrify, both in Australia and globally?
Yeah, something that occupies a fair bit of my time is thinking about that question. I'd say, first off, we're fortunate that Australia is one of the strongest markets for energy storage in the world, right? I don't know where we sit today by the numbers, but top 5 for sure in terms of storage deployments. And so we're able to build a foundation here as a local company leveraging that strong market environment. But we do have global ambitions, and we have plans in place to scale beyond the Australian market to other key markets, including Japan, the USA, and the broader European market. But fundamentally, we're looking for markets where there's high penetration of renewables, and therefore a need to use energy storage every day to really balance that renewable generation, which is obviously the key macro market consideration here in Australia, but it's a growing issue in a lot of markets around the world, and that's really where our technology shines. Where you need a deep daily cycle of the battery, and where every kilowatt hour coming out of that battery counts because it's balancing a kilowatt hour of renewable generation. That's where our platform shines, because our platform is really designed to make sure no kilowatt hour is wasted in the end.
How do you see your technology eventually impacting the market most? What sort of product do you think that will be in?
Obviously right now our primary focus is on large stationary battery energy storage systems where we're focused on both commercial and industrial behind the meter applications, but also front of meter grid scale applications. And we see and we know there's a lot of value that our platform broadly, and specifically this first product, the AC1 we're bringing to market, can have on those customers and those use cases. But the technology platform, in parallel, we have some really interesting work happening on the development side, so 1 or 2 years behind where we are with stationary storage for other applications. So we see a strong use case in mobility, for instance, and we're working on some prototyping and technology adaptation for electric vehicle battery packs as one example.
What lessons have you learned along the way that you could pass on to other innovators or early stage companies looking for funding or looking to get interesting technologies off the ground in Australia?
I would say a few things just kind of on your mentality. I think it's important to be ready to iterate as quickly as you can. So, experiment, learn, and adapt. Always move forward, be decisive, and forward momentum is important. Even if you don't know exactly where you're going, forward momentum is important. I'd say on the market side, don't fall in love with your technology. Really make sure you understand what a customer cares about, not just what you think is interesting and novel. And think about, I think I never really grew up with hockey, but there's a Wayne Gretzky quote about, skating to where the puck was going to be. With respect to competitors, I think that quote is relevant. Don't get caught up in what competitors and conventional technology solutions can do today. Think about what they should be able to do 2 to 3 years from now, because that's when you're going to be in the market. And really you have to get clever on resources, right? So find ways to partner with bigger, stronger organizations, and every hire counts. You got to have great people, because by definition you're a small team and you only get done what your people can do, and so you've got to have a really, really good team.
Relectrify has a potentially revolutionary technology. It's also difficult defining or potentially creating a new product category.
Yep.
How do you think you've been able to navigate that challenge as a business, where you do have to convince customers or explain to customers how you differ from standard BAU products?
It is a challenge. A lot of people think about what we're doing as being analogous to kind of microinverter technology for PV systems, where you had companies like SolarEdge and Enphase developing this new approach to distributed kind of management of PV panels. And so it is similar to what we're doing in terms of independently managing every battery cell. The challenge for us has been, the product integration is deep, right? Our technology platform has to be embedded at the heart of the product design and the manufacturing of a larger battery energy storage system. And so the way we've solved that right now is by taking control of our own destiny and bringing the AC1 to market as a fully formed battery energy storage system built on this technology platform. And one thing we're trying to do with that is show the broader world that in fact the platform does work, and it does have these performance advantages that we know it does. And that's a big part of the ARENA project that we're about to kick off, right, is this performance validation and making that performance bankable, in a sense, where we show it in the field with enough cycles where it's in some sense incontrovertible at that point. And that's a big part of what we're trying to do right now.